Morning, the first of 2 days of congressional testimony took place in our nation's capital, and it involves Western New Yorkers who are connected to the mass shooting at the supermarket in Buffalo last month. They are front and center with people all over the world watching and listening to their calls for action. First up today, Garnell Whitfield, a familiar face to a lot of you watching. He's the former Buffalo Fire Commissioner. His beloved mother, 86-year-old Ruth Whitfield, was among those killed at the Top supermarket on Jefferson Avenue. He took questions from U.S. senators during a hearing this morning. Tomorrow, Zanetta Everhart will testify. Her son survived being shot in that racist attack. And we'll also hear tomorrow from Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia. He will share the law enforcement perspective. We start our coverage here on the town hall tonight inside the Hart Senate Office Building, room 216. There this morning, a grieving son from Buffalo told lawmakers and the country that white supremacy is real, it motivated mass murder in our community, and it must be stopped. Here's Channel 2's Claudine Ewing.
My mother's life mattered. My mother's life mattered. And your actions here today will tell us how much it matters to you. For her to be murdered, taken away from us by someone so full of hate, is impossible to understand and even harder to live with. But we're more than hurt. We're angry. We're mad as hell because this should have never happened.
His mother was 86, grocery shopping after visiting her husband at a nursing home. The focus is on action and getting to the root of why an 18-year-old gunman killed.
This was an act of a person, and he did not act alone. He was radicalized by white supremacists. His anger and hatred were metastasized like a cancer by people with big microphones in high places screaming that black people were going to take away their jobs and opportunities.
Whitfield called out white supremacy as the #1 threat to the homeland based on enforcement agencies charged with protecting the U.S.
I ask every one of you to imagine the faces of your mothers as you look at mine and ask yourself, is there nothing that we can do? Is there nothing that you personally are willing to do to stop the cancer of white supremacy and the domestic terrorism it inspires? Because if there is nothing, then, respectfully, senators, you should yield your positions of authority and influence to others that are willing to lead on this issue.
We hear you, and we are taking your message and the witness that you and your family have offered our nation to heart.
Race was not ignored at this hearing.
White supremacy, when it comes to vicious hate groups like the Klan or the Nazi Party, in my view, they are unequivocally hateful, bigoted, racist morons who should be denounced.
How can our response to this tragedy help you, your family, and your community to heal?
First of all, by calling it what it is, and not, sweeping it under the rug and beating around the bush. It is white supremacy. It's a problem. And this young man, though he pulled the trigger, others loaded the gun. Others fed him. Others radicalized him.
And Claudine joins me now. So after that emotional hearing today, we also got to hear from some of the other families who lost loved ones. They also traveled to D.C., which was really something. They were there to support Garnell. I know there are more hearings tomorrow, and they're here to support those people as well. But they are really becoming kind of a group helping each other.
And rightly they should. The cousin of 52-year-old Margus Morrison, who was killed, talked about the hard conversation that she was forced to have with her daughter.
And I don't think you guys understand how hard it is to teach a 9-year-old little black girl why people are getting killed for their skin color. It is very hard to teach my little 9-year-old girl that there's hate in some people, but not everyone, that most people are good. But there are bad people, and I don't know why we're arguing about it.
And as we mentioned, today's testimony was before this Senate committee, looking specifically at the racial aspect of this. Tomorrow there is another hearing. This is before a House committee with more Western New Yorkers participating.
Absolutely, and that's going to include Buffalo Police Commissioner Joe Gramaglia. We spoke with him this morning at the Buffalo airport as he was heading to D.C. He will speak on behalf of the Major City Chiefs Association, but he said he wants to represent Buffalo and the victims of this mass shooting.
I'm very conflicted about it because it's an honor to go have this opportunity to speak, but I'm being called to speak because of this racist massacre that occurred here locally. So, it's an emotional confliction, if you will, but I'm going to go there and try to speak for the 13 victims of Buffalo.
The police commissioner will read a prepared written statement on behalf of the chiefs, as we mentioned, kind of representing that organization. He'll also have an opportunity to answer some questions. And Claudia, I know that you're going to be in Washington, D.C. tomorrow to cover that. And there's another panel before the commissioner speaks with another Western New Yorker.
Absolutely. Zanetta Everhart's son, Zaire Goodman, was one of the 3 people who was injured during that mass shooting. She's going to join the families of the victims of the Uvalde Elementary School shooting there for that morning panel, and then back to Whitfield. He was so powerful. And you remember the Senate hearing was titled Examining the Metastasizing Domestic Terrorism Threat After the Buffalo Attack.
Yeah.
It is what happened here that brought them front and center. And so he said his mother, Ruth, she was frustrated by white supremacy. And because of that, they want to carry on her legacy. They want to speak out and fight against it.
And you'll probably see him tomorrow because he is staying to support the others who are testifying tomorrow, kind of back to that unifying message.
Yeah,
among
that's
them.
what he told me on the phone.
All right, we'll look forward to your coverage tomorrow, Claudine. Thank you very much. Hey, on the issue of gun reform, we should point out that we got an update earlier today from our senior U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer. Remember, he's in charge of the Democrats in the Senate, and he announced today that he is giving more time to this bipartisan group that's trying to come up with a compromise on gun laws. He previously said that if they couldn't come with a deal, that he would quickly force through some votes. Well, today he said that his colleagues have made enough progress that they should keep talking.
As Majority Leader, I made clear that the Senate will vote on gun safety legislation in the near future. Senate Democrats, led by the groups, including this group, your message to us is get something done. Get something done. We know we won't get all of it done at once, but get something done. We're going to get something passed through this chamber as long as it will make a tangible difference in gun violence.
All sides as part of these negotiations say they're making progress, but they also acknowledge that a bipartisan deal will not include major reform measures like universal background checks or an assault weapons ban, even though both of those enjoy majority support among the American people.